Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN's Divisional Preview Show. We're going to do the AL West today. I'm here, as always, with Casey, Vlad to the Bone Scheinvold. And by the way, I'm Dr. Dan Radner. I'm actually going to introduce myself. And Ross the Boss.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. And I want to talk baseball with you, cowboy.
Did you see how nervous he was? He was like, what if I drop this?
I was like, Ross, don't make a fool of yourself on national television. And, of course, I didn't.
All right, we're going to start with the AL West. And listen, Ross, you're wearing an Oakland A's shirt. You got to be the guy who does the AL West.
Let's go, Oakland.
Is that, are you saying they're going to win?
Oakland. Oh. They spent zero money on free agency this year. 0.0. My grade point average in college. 0. So I'm not taking Oakland. They're not going to finish in first, second, third, or not. They're not going to finish in last, okay? So we'll get that out of the way. So first, Houston is my team. I know they lost a couple players on free agency. Doesn't matter. They're stacked. Their pitching is really good with Garcia and Plumber. I mean, they have some great – and who's back is Justin Verlander. I know he's 39 years old, Casey, but it doesn't matter. This guy pitched in the spring training this week, and he looked unbelievable. And I think Houston will win their division, so I'm taking them on top. I'm going to take Seattle finishing second. I think they improved a million times a lot, and they almost made the playoffs last year. So this year, getting Winker and Suarez from the Reds and getting some pitching help, which they got Ray. They got some good players in the offseason. So I'm taking Seattle. They'll make the playoffs, Dr. Dan Ratner. They'll make the playoffs. And then we'll take the Angels. I think the Angels are going to have a good season this year. They're not going to make the playoffs, unfortunately. They just don't have the pitching, even though they got Noah Schoengard from the Mets. Doesn't matter. The Angels won't do it, and then in last place there's going to be the Oakland A's, which is kind of sad. But there you go.
All right, now it's Noah Syndergaard. Every once in a while, we're going to have to correct Ross about his.
Noah Syndergaard. I thought I said that. I guess I didn't.
You said Schoengard, but that's okay.
Schoengard. Okay.
If we review the tape, that's what it was said. Okay, so this is interesting. I have a pretty different shuffle. I do have the Astros at the top very clearly.
Okay.
They're the number one team in that division, hands down, and I think they're going to compete for a championship. Will they make it there? You're gonna have to sit tight and see what our preview show says on opening day. But I have the Astros first. Then I actually have the scrappy Oakland Athletics finishing second. They do it all the time. They do it all the time.
They're your Tampa Bay Rays of the West, huh?
They're yes, they are. But they do it their own way. They put it together. It's like this weird bionic thing. You know Billy Bean and how he does it. I don't know. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. It happens all the time. You're like, these A's won 93 games. It's going to happen. Yeah. Then I have the Mariners finishing third. I do think they're an up-and-coming team, but I think they're going to just miss the cut in the playoffs. The Angels are going to have a much better season. I think Mike Trout is going to be relatively healthy. He's going to come through fine. Shohei Ohtani has arrived on the scene as the most exciting player in baseball in a lot of ways. They're going to have a really fun season, but I have them finishing fourth. I just think their pitching isn't where it needs to be. And lastly, the Rangers. I think they have a lot of hitting, but their pitching is going to be problematic from my vantage point. But honestly, when I look at these teams, it's very hard to predict these four teams, to me. I hear you guys saying you think the A's are not going to make it there. I'm betting on how they've done it in the past. Casey, let's turn it over to you.
Well, we're unanimous in our top pick. Houston is obviously the class of that division and one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the American League. And so I think they're going to win the division handily and have a bye in the first round of the playoffs based on the new system. I have as my second team the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I finally think they do have the pitching. I think if Syndergaard stays healthy, which I granted is a big if, pairing him with Ohtani and Sandoval at the top of that rotation gives them a quality 1, 2, 3. They have Raisel Iglesias, who's a quality closer who can help their bullpen. I don't think the other teams necessarily can, and I actually have them sneaking in as the third wildcard team. I think we finally get to see Mike Trout in the playoffs again. Hopefully it's not just a single game like it was his only other time in the playoffs because he deserves so much more. Third, I like the Seattle Mariners. I like what they've done. Obviously, they've added offense. Their pitching has to develop, but they have some good young players there, and they have Julio Rodriguez coming up. Hopefully Kelenic on the offensive side can put it together this year and provide some of that much-needed hype that they had going into last season. I have Oakland coming in fourth above the Texas Rangers, but again, to me, that's a coin flip. Both teams have their serious flaws. I understand what you're saying about the Oakland A's being scrappy, but they traded Chapman, they traded Olsen. If they have Montas on their roster 2 months into the season, I'll be shocked. Ramon Laureano's missing the first 49 games, I think, left in his suspension. So I think they're putting up a AAA team for a majority of the season, and I just don't think that can sustain. They'll probably play well for a couple weeks at a time, but they're not going to be good enough.
All right, well, we're going to see. But if Mike Trout does make the playoffs in the new playoff system, he's guaranteed at least 2 games because it's out.
Well, they have Mike Trout, they have Shohei Ohtani, they have Jared Walsh, they have a healthy Rendon. That's a solid 2 through 6 that
it
can
is.
compete and hang with anyone.
You know what's showing is my bias towards pitching. I think Montas actually may stay on there, and Sean Manaea is going to surprise a lot of people this year. He's looking good to me. We will see. That's our preview of the AL West. Tune in for more. We're going to do the NL soon as well, and we'll have our playoff picks starting on opening day. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. We love to answer any comments you have. We love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.